The morning light, filtered through the vertical blinds of the Dunder Mifflin Paper Company, painted long, striped shadows across the compact 10-person office. For most, it was just another Tuesday in paper sales, a symphony of ringing phones, clacking keyboards, and the low hum of the fluorescent lights. But for Jim Halpert, every day was an intricate dance, a carefully choreographed balance between witty banter, sales calls, and the quiet, aching pursuit of Pamela Beesly. Jim, lean and perpetually amused, leaned back in his chair, a mischievous glint in his eyes as he surveyed the battlefield. Opposite him sat Dwight Schrute, assistant to the regional manager, a man whose seriousness was only matched by his profound lack of self-awareness. Dwight, clad in a mustard-colored short-sleeved shirt and an unnecessarily wide tie, was meticulously organizing his staplers by size and perceived importance. Suddenly, a high-pitched squeak echoed through the office. Dwight, startled, yelped and sprang from his chair, frantically inspecting his seat. Jim, ever the maestro, had replaced Dwight's chair with a child-sized rocking horse. "Halpert!" Dwight roared, his face a mask of indignation. "This is a violation of office policy, a safety hazard. I could sue Dunder Mifflin for ergonomic negligence." Before Jim could respond, a hearty guffaw erupted from the corner office. Michael Scott, the regional manager, a man whose boundless, often misplaced, cheerfulness knew no bounds, emerged, wiping tears of mirth from his eyes. Michael, always convinced he was the life of the party and desperately trying to align himself with what he perceived as cool, immediately sided with Jim. "Dwight, lighten up!" Mikhail chortled, clapping Jim on the back, a little too hard. "It's just a prank. A classic Jimbo move. You gotta appreciate the artistry." He then proceeded to mime riding the rocking horse, making exaggerated neighing sounds, much to Dwight's utter disgust. Pamela Beesly, the office receptionist, a gentle soul with an artist's eye for detail, watched the familiar charade unfold from behind her desk. A small, knowing smile played on her lips. She adored Jim's playful spirit, the way he navigated the absurdities of their office life with such effortless charm. But her smile held a bittersweet edge. Her left hand, resting on her desk blotter, bore a diamond ring, a constant, sparkling reminder of her engagement to Roy, a man she had known since high school. A commitment that felt less like love and more like a deeply ingrained habit. She loved Jim. She knew it, with a certainty that both thrilled and terrified her. But breaking off her engagement felt like tearing down her entire life's foundation. Jim caught her eye across the room, and his smile softened, losing its prankster edge. He offered her a small, secret wave, and a warmth bloomed in Pamela's chest. A fleeting glimpse of a world where their smiles could truly meet. His romantic overtures were as creative and understated as his pranks. One Tuesday, Pamela arrived at her desk to find a small, intricately folded paper crane perched on her monitor, its wings spread as if in flight. Attached was a note, simply reading, "May your day soar." Another time, she discovered her coffee mug had been replaced with a perfectly clean, brand new one, filled with her favorite blend, already brewed and warm. He knew the small things, the details no one else paid attention to. The most elaborate surprise came one particularly dreary afternoon. Sales were sluggish, and Michael was attempting to motivate the team with an improvised, highly energetic dance routine set to a pop song. Dwight, naturally, was documenting the unprofessional conduct in a tiny notepad. Pamela, feeling the weight of the day, sighed. Suddenly, A large, wrapped package appeared on her desk, seemingly out of nowhere. Feigning casualness, merely winked. Inside, she found a blank canvas, a set of new paintbrushes, and a palette of vibrant acrylics. A small card read, "For the masterpiece that is you, waiting to be painted." Tears welled in Pamela's eyes. He saw her, truly saw her, beyond the receptionist's desk, beyond her engagement ring. He saw the artist within, the dreams she had quietly shelved. She glanced at Jim, who offered a gentle, encouraging smile. Her heart ached with the desire to run to him, to tell him everything. But the ring on her finger felt like an invisible chain. Later that week, the office was abuzz with a corporate initiative. Dunder Mifflin was hosting a regional Love Your Office photography contest. Michael, seeing an opportunity for grandiosity, declared it would be a competition for the ages, complete with a dramatic award ceremony. Dwight, predictably, took it with extreme seriousness, spending hours photographing every meticulously organized corner of his desk, convinced his systematic efficiency would win. Jim, of course, had other plans. His camera was pointed squarely at Pamela. Over the next few days, as she worked, unaware, he captured her in various moments, laughing at Michael's terrible jokes, lost in thought as she stared out the window. Her brow furrowed in concentration as she drew a quick sketch on a stray memo pad, the gentle curve of her smile when she answered a particularly sweet call. He curated a series of candid shots, each one a testament to her quiet grace and undeniable beauty. He titled his entry simply, "Pam." The day of the contest judging arrived. Michael, donning a ridiculously oversized sash that read "Chief Judge," presented the entries. Dwight's photos of pristine staplers and perfectly aligned pens were met with polite applause. Various other employees submitted generic shots of the water cooler or the break room. Then came Jim's entry. As the slides of Pamela's candid moments flashed across the projector screen, a hush fell over the office. Each photo was a tender portrait, capturing not just her image, but her essence, her laughter, her thoughtfulness, her subtle expressions. The final slide was a close-up of her hands, resting on the desk, paint smudges still visible on her fingers from the canvas he'd given her. But crucially, the engagement ring was out of focus, a blur in the background, almost an afterthought. Pamela, watching the images of herself, felt a profound wave of emotion. It was as if Jim had held a mirror to her soul, reflecting back a person she sometimes forgot she was. She saw the love in every shot, the unwavering affection, the deep understanding. Her eyes met Jim's across the room. He wasn't smiling mischievously now. His gaze was open, vulnerable, full of the unspoken declaration of his love. Michael, usually oblivious, was unusually moved. Even Dwight seemed to pause his furious note-taking, a flicker of something unreadable in his intense stare. Then, the office door opened, and Roy, Pamela's fiancé, strode in, carrying a box of donuts, a surprise visit. His presence, usually a comforting familiarity, suddenly felt jarring, a discordant note in the delicate melody Jim had just orchestrated. He saw the photos on the screen, his face darkening slightly. Pamela looked from the images of herself, seen through Jim's loving eyes, to Roy, who was now oblivious, handing out donuts and asking, "What's all this mushy stuff?" The contrast was stark, the path ahead suddenly terrifyingly clear. She looked at Jim again. He offered a small, sad smile, as if to say, "I understand. No pressure." But something had shifted within Pamela. The weight of her indecision, The comfort of her routine suddenly felt lighter than the immense, suffocating weight of denying her own heart. She took a deep breath, the scent of paper and stale coffee filling her lungs. This office, this life, the pranks, the manager, the rivalries, it was all part of the canvas Jim had helped her see. She walked towards Jim, not to speak, but to acknowledge. She reached out, her hand hovering for a moment, then gently took his. Her touch was a silent promise, a whisper of a future she was finally ready to paint for herself, even if it meant tearing down her old life brick by painful brick. The ring on her finger felt heavier than ever, but for the first time she felt strong enough to remove it. Love, she realized, wasn't just about grand gestures or stolen glances. It was about seeing, truly seeing, another person's soul, and having the courage to align your own heart with that truth, no matter the cost.